It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I am Kevin Keatsman, in with you for the next hour leading up to the Vince Show. And more than any other show in my first 9 months hosting Uncanceled, I have been chomping at the bit to get in here and hit this button and open this microphone today. I am rocking and ready to go on... well, something I was going to talk about anyway, but then after hearing Mayor Q with Pete Mundo today in one of the most telling and interesting interviews that he's ever done with Pete, an absolute must listen. If you do one thing today other than listen to this show for the next hour, go to the podcast page, kcmotalkradio.com, click on Mundo in the Morning, and listen to the interview with Mayor Quentin Lucas if you did not hear it. It is terrific. I got called out again, but not by name. But at one point, he referenced me and other people that are on in the day later than Pete, that Mayor Q doesn't understand how a new stadium would make more money for the Chiefs. And I almost fell over when I heard it. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Also today, some stunning, an absolute stunning new, not the ones you've heard. You've heard some D.C. crime rates over the first week. We've got the crime statistic in D.C. since Trump took over that tops every other statistic. We've got that for you. We'll talk a little bit later about 1587 Prime, which is completely sold out in reservations. And I know Pete's been talking about this. I've got some information about where the stakes come from, what the company is, and where it's headed. I'm going to predict right now that there will be at least 5 1587 Primes worldwide before this is all said and done. This is not a Kansas City venture. Kansas City is the place for the first. And the Chiefs have traded Sky Moore. We'll get Mark Van Sickle's thoughts on that a little bit later in the show. We begin today with the story that is in the Kansas City Star today, that Andy Reid on May 4th, 2024, was sitting in his office around midnight, and a bullet came flying through the window that didn't hit him, but must have rattled him something crazy. This was less than 90 days after the shooting at Union Station, right? They would have had the Super Bowl in February, the parade, the shooting, the national attention. So the first thing I want to ask you is, why is this story coming out now? And Pete alluded to this. I have a very strong opinion, and I thought Mayor Q absolutely missed that. He made a great point. Mayor Q was on with Pete, and he said, look, this story got leaked. I'm going with Mayor Quentin Lucas. Somebody leaked this story for a reason. It doesn't squat for 18 months and all of a sudden happen. Somebody leaked the story. I believe that. And I agree with Mayor Q. And he said that. He said, but if these is the people in Kansas trying to get them across the state line, they're leaking a story the Chiefs already knew. That's not going to sway them. And then he went through another litany and 2 or 3 other things about it doesn't make any sense. And a new stadium and the revenue that it produces. And he started to kind of get angry. I don't know if you could tell. Mayor Q got a little worked up. And he had this tone to him like I get sometimes. The reason I know is I get this tone sometimes. We probably all do. You're frustrated with something. It's bothering you. I get it when my computer locks up. And I become a completely different human being. Even if my wife's around, I'm a terrible person when my computer's giving me trouble. I'm awful. You get things that get a little burr under your saddle, and man, that horse is going to be rocking. And Mayor Q was when he was talking about this. And he says it doesn't make any sense. It can't be the police department. It can't be politics. It's not those things. He's completely missing it. It's the Chiefs. The information came from the Chiefs. They're looking for every possible reason to leave, folks. I reported on this show several months ago. My first really great source on the Chiefs many months ago told me that Mark Donovan, the president of the team, had long decided Arrowhead's dead. Okay? You have what used to be the nicest hotel in Kansas City across the street is boarded up. The Denny's is gone. Nothing's ever been done there. For almost 60 years now, there's been no development. Arrowhead Stadium does not produce the finances that other stadiums do. I'll have more on that in a moment. But there's no development there. It's not a great place. There's a prison just to the south. It's right there up on the hill. I don't know how many people know that. There's a correctional facility right there. There's not much around there. You're not going to develop houses. You might be able to build some apartments or some outlet malls or something. I don't know. But there's not much there. And Mayor Q never thought, well, maybe the Chiefs are leaking this information. And when I was told that Donovan wanted to leave to Kansas, The same source that told me this about Mark Donovan, I'm 100% sure of this. Mark Donovan wants a new stadium in Kansas. That's done. And everybody says, well, yeah, but Clark, we don't know. He's got this thing about his dad and the tradition of Arrowhead. And, well, his dad left Texas for Missouri. So his dad wasn't afraid to move across state lines. He did it for business reasons. Business is business. So I never really bought into all that. But my source told me that Donovan was told by Clark Hunt, I need reasons to move. I need a clear case for why we're doing this. I need as many reasons as possible, not money. For example, hosting a Super Bowl is a great reason. Having more accommodations and a better game day experience for the fans is a reason. A better setup for the players and corporate offices and things like that, closer to where they live, is a reason. There's a lot of reasons out there. How about no bullets flying through the window of my head coach? Would that be a reason? Clark Hunt has been building a case for months that he's moving. There is no reason to renovate Arrowhead, so get over it. It's the same people that wanted to keep Kauffman Stadium years ago, and now that's gone. It's the same people that thought Kemper Arena was good enough. Let's not build Sprint Center, now T-Mobile. It's the same people that the airport's so convenient, we don't need a new terminal, that now love the new terminal. New is good, folks. New is a thing. It's better. Newer's better. I'm just going to tell you, newer is better. And it's the same thing with stadiums. And that's where the Chiefs are. And I can't think of one possible reason why the Chiefs would ever want to stay at Arrowhead Stadium if they can build a brand new stadium in Kansas. Plus, Missouri's 50%, Kansas is 70%. We could go on and on and on. Clark has every possible reason he needs. Did you know that Kemper Arena is newer than Arrowhead and Kauffman? And we replaced that 20-some years ago? This is not how this works. The Las Vegas Raiders projected 5-6 years ago, their new stadium, when they started selling the personal seat licenses and the suites, they projected they would make $250 million to pay toward their $2 billion stadium out of selling PSLs and suite licenses. They did $700 million. That's one time. Folks, if Kansas is paying 70%, the Chiefs pay the rest of this with contracts to buy suites and suite-level seats, personal seat licenses. It's done. That doesn't mean every seat in the place has one, although the Raiders did all but 10,000 in their stadium. Some of the cheaper seats up in the corners, it costs you $500 one-time personal seat license for the right to buy the deal. It's like joining a country club. We're going to charge you monthly, but you have to pay a fee up front to join. You want to be a season ticket holder, you got to pay a fee. The Chiefs are going to do that in a new stadium. They're going to pay for all the rest of it. I'm going to tell you right now, Clark Hunt ain't spending a nickel on this new stadium, and he's going to double or triple his revenues. It's going to be insane what he makes in a new stadium. And Mayor Q was talking over and over about the number of events. Will there be more events there? Yes, there will be a few more events there than Arrowhead, but that really isn't the big difference. The big difference is how much more can he make with his football team? The size of the suites, the amenities, the corporations. You will not be able to do business in the Midwest. Forget Kansas City. Berkshire Hathaway in Omaha, they're going to need something. They're going to need a presence there. They got all kinds of companies that operate in the Kansas City area. These companies are all going to need a suite in this new stadium with the 3 or 4 or 5-time Super Bowl winning champ and Patrick Mahomes playing. You're going to have to be there to do business. And guess what? These companies have a lot of money, and they're not afraid to spend $1 million a year on a suite and pay $500,000 for the right to have it as a one-time fee. It's coming, and I'm stunned that Quentin Lucas has been on this stadium issue this long and doesn't understand the economics of this. What? I mean, at least I'll give the Royals credit. You know, as many things as they do wrong, at least they said from the beginning, we're done here. We're done here. There's no money to be made at renovating Kauffman Stadium. Everybody knew they shouldn't have done that 20 years ago, but we did. There's money elsewhere. There's money around the stadium. There's money in development. There's money in new suites. There's only so much you can do with suites and premium seating at Kauffman Stadium. It's done. It's over. It's gone. And I'm the Grim Reaper, but I say it over and over. And Kansas fans, it kills them when they hear me say this. There will be a day, maybe not my lifetime, there's going to be a day They need a new basketball arena in Lawrence because they can't keep up economically with the one they have. And they can't. And maybe that will be a thing where they have to tear it down and build a new one right there and play somewhere else for a couple of years, like they just did with the football stadium. Why didn't KU renovate the football stadium? They didn't renovate squat. They ripped that sucker to the ground and started over. And what they've built halfway around is going way over budget. And, of course, it's expensive, but it's cool as hell. And it's going to give them the opportunity. They've got a sellout on Saturday to make more money than they ever made in football because of the suites and the club level and all the amenities and all the things that go with it. That's what these people that run sports teams want. The Chiefs are gone, folks. They're not staying at Arrowhead. Wrap your brain around it. And for Mayor Q today to not think the Chiefs are somehow involved in this leaking. Look, I don't think Mark Donovan called up the reporter and said, hey, this gun thing happened in May of 24. I don't think that's it at all. I think he was working on his story. I think he's talking to Chief sources, and they're talking about, off the record, hey, listen, there's a lot of reasons why we can't stay here. If we're going to move, the 50% versus 70, the things I just said, the revenue, the parade, the county executives being recalled, it's Kansas City, Missouri, the crime, the neighborhoods that our players drive through or whatever that Andy Reid drives through. For crying out loud, he lives by the plaza. Andy Reid's what does he drive through to get to Arrowhead? And is his car bulletproof? Legitimate question. If you're driving from the plaza to Arrowhead Stadium, is your car bulletproof every day, Andy? I don't know the answer to that, but these are all reasons. They've got a million reasons to do this. And so I'm just a little bit surprised that we've gotten to this point and people can't see what it is the Chiefs are doing. And now it seems like they've got a whole bunch of reasons. And I think a guy was just talking to the reporter and said, and then the thing where the bullet came through Andy's window, sent a shock, and the reporter's like, huh? What? Oh, we had a bullet fly through Andy's window. Oh, it's off the record. We didn't, nothing came of it. When was that? I don't know. It was like a year and a half ago or something. Then you start searching to find the police report, and they found it. You don't just find one from May 4th, 2024. Somebody leaked it. I don't think they did it intentionally, but I do think there was a discussion going on with a source about all the problems they've had out there and everything that's been going on. And now their coach is behind bulletproof glass. One final thought. I like to do this from time to time as an exercise. Take yourself out of Kansas City. Say you live somewhere else and you've lived there your whole life. You live in Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Las Vegas or Seattle or wherever you're from. And you're just reading this story. Well, the Chiefs won a Super Bowl and they had a shooting, gang-related, and an innocent bystander was killed in a gang-related shooting after a Super Bowl parade. And 90 days later, Andy Reid had a bullet fly through his window at Arrowhead. The Chiefs are considering whether to stay in Kansas City, Missouri, Jackson County, and renovate Arrowhead Stadium, or move to Kansas and build a brand new facility. What would you think if you didn't live here? You'd be laughing. If this was Baltimore talking about a new stadium, and their coach had a bullet fly through their window where they currently work, they had a murder at their Super Bowl parade, in a crime-infested capital of America for violent crime, with a county executive that's being recalled, we'd be laughing. Well, of course Baltimore's moving out, away from the city and into the burbs or somewhere. Of course they are. There is nobody in America other than somebody in Kansas City in their right mind that would think the Chiefs are staying. Nobody. This got out. It got out for a reason. You can put two and two together. We got phone lines open at 913-408-7957. We're going to start today with Jeff in Kansas City. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Now, this is Jeff and Shawnee. I'm the guy who called you from Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Hey,
good to have you back. Thank you.
Yeah. And I will tell you, I did not hang up on you.
I mentioned on the air what Mark told me you said.
Anyway, did Mayor Q really say that this was people just starting up drama? Did he really say that?
He suggested it. He definitely said it's leaked. He suggested it might be people in Kansas trying to get the team and said, and backed that up, rightfully so, by saying, well, the Chiefs already knew about this incident, so what the heck's the difference by making it public? What he missed is it's the Chiefs that leaked it.
Oh, I totally understand that.
But they
this
kept it
drama.
quiet for 18 months until they didn't.
Yeah. This ain't drama, man. This is like our president getting shot. It's just nothing to see here, man. just, somebody shot through his window. No big deal.
When you release the information that our $10 million, $20 million head coach with 3 Super Bowl rings has to sit behind bulletproof glass, it might be time to move.
You are absolutely right. I've talked about this when I went down the Jazz Corner 2 years ago on a Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Dude, I was in a war-torn city, man. It was crazy. It was crazy, man. But, it's no drama, man. They leaked it. Take care.
All right, thanks for the call, man. Appreciate that very much. Next up is Wes in Gladstone. Hi, Wes. How are you today?
Hey, good, man. So all the things that you said about Mayor Q, that's why the teams are moving, man. This guy doesn't have a clue. But, Kevin, I mean, I've been indifferent, to this whole thing, but this thought just struck me. What a huge black eye that's going to be when those teams move, man. Those 2 stadiums sitting there empty. I mean, that's going to look horrible for Kansas City and Jackson County, man. I mean, how long will those stadiums sit there unoccupied?
I don't know, but it wouldn't be surprised if Buc-ee's bought the place. I'm serious. I mean, that's what you're probably looking at is probably truck and travel centers, Buc-ee's, maybe some outlets or something like that. That would probably suit it fairly well, wouldn't it?
You know what? It may not be such a black guy after all, but while they sit there empty, that's just going to be a horrible look, man.
No question. You know what? It is pretty far into a city for Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's likes to be on the edge of town. They're not really a city place, but man, that's the confluence of 435 and 70, and Buc-ee's are kind of tourist destinations. People that drive, long haulers, they'll go a little, at least a mile out of their way or something to go to a Buc-ee's.
Oh, right. Well, they could turn it into a gun range, right?
Well, sure. They could build a prison. I mean, they've got a detention center right by there. They could put the new Kansas City, Missouri prison there if they want.
Oh, or hey, a way to get the detainees out of the country, right? We'll have to come up with a name for it,
Arrowhead Alcatraz, baby. Let's go. We got something now. The irony of this is, we talk about Andy Reid being safe or whatever. If the Chiefs build in Kansas, Andy Reid probably will never coach there. We're talking about 2031. It seems unlikely he'll be coaching in 6 years. Mahomes will be playing there, but I think it'll be a new coach by then.
I think you're right. So, you guys have a good rest of the day.
Okay, thanks. That's not to say that coaches haven't coached a long, long time and stayed on forever. But I can't imagine Andy Reid, and he's had some health scares and some things. It's not that you could be like 74 or 75 at that point. Plenty of coaches have done that. Pete Carroll's got to be at least that, right?
Yeah, he's getting close to that.
Yeah. Pete Carroll's got to be at least that, and he's coaching the Raiders. So I'm not saying Andy wouldn't, and maybe that would be a goal for him. I want to stay on and coach in the new stadium.
And he'd get the record for wins, I think, by that point.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, look, I'm not trying to retire the guy. The only player the Chiefs have right now probably that would play in a new stadium would be, there might be a receiver or somebody. If Xavier Worthy's really great, or Rashee Rice, maybe they'd still be around. But, the turnover's incredible in football. So it's a little bit hard to say. But it's just all adding up, folks. There's just nothing to suggest. There's no public comments even that suggest the Chiefs really want to renovate Arrowhead. When Donovan last spoke about renovating Arrowhead, he said, we could do some things around this stadium that would generate revenue, but it wouldn't even be like as much as Power and Light. They're envisioning something massive and grand. I think there would be an incredible Hall of Fame. I think they could do an unbelievable tribute to the AFL and to Lamar Hunt himself. I think that would be a separate facility. I think they want to build football fields. I think if they build at the Legends, it's going to be the stadium. I think there's going to be maybe some corporate offices somewhere else that's closer to where the players and coaches and everybody live. And there will be Little League fields and all kinds of bringing kids into the program. Big, grand ideas I think the Chiefs will have. All right, Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. Some shocking crime news, or lack thereof, in D.C. I've got a great stat for you next. So you've probably heard that carjackings in D.C. are down 83% week over week. That's going to be 100% very soon. There will be no carjacks. They're going to go a week without a carjacking in Washington, D.C. That's going to be awesome. And you've heard the other crime numbers, but this one is now out. As long as they've been recording this in Washington, D.C., for however long that's been, I mean, decades they've been recording crime statistics. It is the first week during summer in the history of recorded records in Washington, D.C. that there was not a homicide. That's unbelievable. Donald Trump's first week cracking down on crime is the first summer week on record in Washington, D.C. without a murder. Crazy. All right, here's our friend Fenny, who is always thoughtful on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Fenny. How are you? Fenny, are you there?
Oh, hey.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, Kevin. We missed it.
It's okay.
What can go in there where Arrowhead is, put in a big old rodeo arena and get some rednecks in there.
Bring the bull riding in, huh?
You betcha. Hey, nothing cleans up a neighborhood like a bunch of rednecks.
Well, they're doing that at the Legends as well. Aren't they building the American Royal out there?
I have no idea. But hey,
What's not going to be at the Legends by the time it's all done? Yeah, your phone's breaking up, Fenny. We're going to have to try again tomorrow or next week. Okay, buddy? All right, you take care. Appreciate the call. His phone just disappeared on us. But point well taken. What will they do with those facilities with no teams there? It's a massive piece of land, and obviously it's in a high-traffic area. So you would think it would be something commercial. Don't think that I'd want to be living that near the interstate, especially if the bullets are flying from the roads. But maybe businesses could tamp that down just a little bit. Who knows? Okay, so the illegal alien trucker that went to Florida with his California driver's license and couldn't read the sign that said official vehicles only, official use only, and made a U-turn on the Florida Turnpike, and 3 people drove under his truck trailer and were decapitated and died. He got out of Florida. I don't know that this has been reported very much. So apparently they checked him, and since he had a California driver's license, they're like, okay, this happened. You're free to go. They didn't detain him. They found out much more about him after that, which I thought was stunning, because you would think that a driver's license check would have let you know that he had some other traffic stops and some other things, but the background check wasn't enough to detain him. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has now said he is sending Florida's Chuck Norris to California to retrieve this guy and bring him back to Florida. I think they're embarrassed that he got out of Florida but was let go. I mean, how'd the guy not get out of the country? And why didn't he try to get out of the country somehow? Or has he? I don't know. But, man, if he got out of Florida, I'd be running for the border in a heartbeat and trying to get out, because he's in real trouble, and he's got to know that. But this is part of our problem, that regularly, I guess, a police officer, something happens, you're in an auto accident, you get the information, you run a background check, and if the initial check in your car doesn't show a lot of the stuff that they learned about this guy, you're letting them go, I guess. Is that what happened? I'm not sure I understand how this all worked, but they seem quite embarrassed about this in Florida, which is the last place you'd expect to happen, but it did happen. So when we're talking about the illegal alien problem that we have in this country, especially with criminal illegal aliens, and this guy to me counts as that, he'd had issues before. They let him get a driver's license even though he couldn't read. Amazingly, they allowed this. He was arrested 2 days after he got here in the United States. Then Joe Biden just let him go. There's just been red flags everywhere on this guy. Look, did he do something intentionally to harm somebody? No. Was he here trying to make money driving a truck? Yeah, that's big money, by the way. That's really good. If you're an illegal alien, you come in here and get a CDL and drive a truck like that, you can make some big money. But you're endangering people in every state when you're going across state lines. And this is really kind of an unbelievable, unprecedented case. But every single time one of these pops up, we're like, wow, we've got all kinds of blind spots. I won't call them loopholes. We have blind spots in our laws. When we allow states to have rights, that's well and good. I'm for that. There's a reason we have a federal government. And there are certain things like maybe your driver's license, unless you're an American citizen, is only good in the state you're in. That seems like a reasonable thing. If California wants to give driver's license to illegal aliens that can't read or speak English, those drivers can never leave California. If the state says we need farm workers in Kansas, out on the prairie and we want them to be allowed to drive the farm trucks and work, we'll give them a permit for that. That's fine, but you can't cross into another state. These seem like reasonable things to me, but we've got blind spots everywhere in our laws. And I'm not for writing federal laws right and left. What this is going to come down to now, and Florida will probably lead the way, Texas might jump on this, it's going to be up to the states. What we're really doing in America with illegal aliens, what they've done is they haven't burdened the federal government nearly as much, because this was easy for Trump. Let's be honest. What Trump's done has been very easy. He just said close the border, and we closed it. He just said round up all the illegal aliens that are criminals and get them out of here, and we've done that. Build me some holding centers and some prisons. We did that. That's the easy part. The hard part is the states. These legislatures don't work that much. You know, when do they go back in Kansas and Missouri into the legislature? When are they off recess? And where on the list is the list of priorities and things for a state? Hey, we need a driver's license law here that says if you're an illegal alien, you can't drive in Kansas. You can't come in with a driver's license from another state and drive in Kansas. If you do, we will arrest you. If we catch you on any kind of traffic violation and you're picked up and that's your driver's license, we're turning you over to ICE. Where do you think that would be on the list of priorities in Topeka or Jeff City? Well, not very high, but it needs to happen. How much of a problem is this? I don't know. How many people get pulled over and maybe they work for a cartel or they're involved in crime, but there's no history, and when you check their driver's license, it's from California or another blue state, and you don't even know they're an illegal alien, but if you run it, and it's your law in your state, you now have this thing, you go check it, you're an illegal alien, sorry, you're turned over to ICE. It would change interstate commerce dramatically by illegal alien criminals. They wouldn't run the risk of just having a tail light out and getting pulled over in a state, and they found out I'm an illegal alien, and they can simply send me out of here just for that. It would really raise the stakes, and I think it's probably coming. But, man, what a blind spot. And how did this guy get to California? And how embarrassed right now is Florida that that's where he is? But they're embarrassed. DeSantis says he's sending his Chuck Norris. His Chuck Norris, I think, is somebody that travels with the lieutenant governor because the lieutenant governor went there. Heck, maybe the lieutenant governor is the Chuck Norris of Florida. I'm not really sure. All right, here's Kelsey in Kansas City. What's up, Kelsey? How you doing?
Hey, Kevin. I've been driving a truck for 36 years. I got 5 million miles under my belt. And whenever the Canadians went on strike, Joe Biden panicked and brought in all these illegal aliens and foreigners to drive trucks in the United States. And it's been a safety hazard and issue ever since.
Can you spot them on the road?
Yeah. Yeah, and most of them got the little doilies hanging from their visors, and you can tell they're either Indian or Muslims.
Okay. All right, so you've seen an influx over the last few years of people from India or the Middle East that are driving trucks in America.
Yes, thousands of them.
So like when you pull over
and they can't speak English.
So when you pull over at a truck stop and you go inside and let's say there's, 20 truckers in there grabbing something or showering or whatever it is they do or whatever the number is, what percentage are we talking about? You'll see them everywhere? Like every time you stop, you'll see somebody?
Yeah. Every time I stop, I see at least one or two foreigners.
Okay. And then we're profiling here and assuming that since this is new, to see people from the Middle East or India that are driving trucks, that they're foreigners. They could be American citizens. Let's be fair and treat them respectfully that way. But it sounds like a trend. Are there certain companies that hire them? Is there anything about their trucks or the companies that hire them that scream out to you, okay, this is the company that's doing this?
A lot of them are independent. They've gotten all their U.S. DOT numbers and everything issued to California. Got California, their owner-operators out of California. There's usually two or three of them in a truck, driving, they just alternate driving. Most of them cannot speak English. I mean, that's a red flag right there. The federal DOT handbook says that you must read and speak English in order to obtain a commercial driver's license.
Yeah, the whole thing's absurd. I mean, the guy couldn't read signs, and he's making a U-turn. It's absolutely, when these things happen, we can't believe it. It sounds like you've been seeing it for years. I got an email from one of my podcast listeners that says he can frequently spot by either the truck, the speed, or the driving habits of a trucker in front of him that he hasn't even seen who's in the cab yet. But if he goes to pass them or follows them and they get off at the same place, he says he can tell sometimes when they're illegal without even seeing them. That they just don't know what they're doing driving on the road. What should we be watching for? Is there a drive? Do they swerve? Are they not? They go slower because they're not good drivers? Is there any tendency?
They go faster.
They go faster.
They tend to speed. Tend to tailgate.
Do they pass more than most drivers?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we got a problem on our hands, don't we?
And at the time, I noticed it really bad was about 2.5 years ago. I was an owner operator. I mean, because of all this influx of foreign drivers and the economy going downhill, it basically forced me out of business. I had to basically put an end to my trucking, owner operator career.
Well, God bless you for the work you do. I mean, you really make America go. We know that. That's absolutely the case. And I think most people listening right now never knew that an illegal alien could get a CDL and drive a truck interstate across the country from California to Florida. I think we've all learned something this past week that we did not know was out there happening.
That's true.
Awesome. Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate you. Good luck. Be safe out there. He's awesome. I like that. Here's Tom. Tom's also a trucker. Hi, Tom. What's up?
Hey, Kevin. How you doing, bud?
Good, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been driving for 33 years, and like the fellow said before you, I've been seeing them. There's been a big influx in them, mostly Middle Eastern. They run around with a diaper on their head doing their thing.
Okay.
But,
right.
They, and they get out of their trucks wearing their flip-flops and their shorts and all that stuff. The biggest, it irritates the heck out of me because they don't speak English. And I think a lot of them are getting their licenses they're buying them, like what we saw in Florida where those people were caught selling licenses through the DMV. And we're seeing it now more. There's another lady I think caught in California who was selling driver's licenses. These guys come in, pay them $200-300, and they get their licenses. And these big trucking companies will pay your going to school, to go to a driving school. They will pay you to drive for them, and they'll pay your schooling, but you have to drive with them for a year, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's under contract. And, they're hiring them like crazy.
Wow.
And I remember back when I was over the road, the company I was working for, they had hired some of these guys, and they ran them as a team. Well, they fired them because they actually cut a hole in the sleeper of the truck, and they would go down the road, and they would go to the bathroom through that hole rather than stopping.
Oh, boy.
Hell, yeah.
Oh,
that's a totally disgusting situation. But it's something that I worry about because these things we heard about this because these people lost their lives due to this individual. I don't know how he wasn't detained immediately.
I agree.
We're out here. We have to be as professional as we can. We deal with these people of everybody, who don't understand trucks, don't know trucks. But this guy's an idiot. And how he was allowed to go, I have no idea. But I tell you something I worry about most is some of these guys that get in these trucks, and I'm afraid that you realize the damage a truck can do in the wrong hands.
Yes.
And that's what worries me because you get and we don't know what's come across this border, and you get an 80,000-pound truck doing 70 mile an hour down the highway, you're not stopping it.
That's right.
Fully loaded.
That's right.
And it's going to go through barriers. It's going to go through just about anything they want to go through.
Tom, great call. Thank you, buddy. Be safe out there. I appreciate your insight.
Yep, thank you.
Another great call. Appreciate that. I wear shorts and flip-flops. So I resemble those statements. As it was famously said. John in Topeka is on KCMO. Hi, John.
Hey, good morning. I guess one of the ways he asked the guy, "Where are you going?" Omaha. Where are you coming from? Omaha. He goes,
all right, we got a phone issue.
Crayons.
Yeah, we got a phone issue, John. I appreciate your call today. We will talk to you soon. Appreciate that. I think he was getting at a lot of drivers just have one answer because they don't speak English.
Yeah.
Where are you coming from, Omaha? Where are you going, Omaha? Is that what he told you?
Yeah, he says they don't really know what they're saying. They just kind of say it.
Well, this guy clearly didn't read the sign. He just thought, here's a turnaround place on the Florida Turnpike. Unbelievable. Man, I tell you, The blind spots, it's not going to stop. We're going to learn something here in another month or two that has happened with illegal aliens, allowing them all in and to just take jobs and do whatever in places like California and get driver's licenses. We're going to learn more. There's another one out there we don't know about yet today. There are probably people listening that know. These drivers sound to me like they've known this is a problem for a few years now, and a bit of a big problem. Crazy situation. Somehow, amazingly, Mark Van Sickle, the Chiefs traded Sky Moore, a guy they were going to cut next week, and moved up from a 7th-round pick to a 6th-round pick in 2027. That's a neat trick.
Great job by the Chiefs.
He wasn't going to make it, was he?
No way.
Did the Niners know he can't catch?
I mean, they saw him in the Super Bowl last year, right? Or I guess he didn't play a couple years ago.
He caught a touchdown against the Eagles, didn't he?
I don't think he played against the Niners.
Yeah, Sky Moore, man, it just didn't work out. The fact that Chiefs got anything from a guy they're going to cut, we will take that every single time. All right, how about this 1587 Steakhouse? Do you think you'll go at any point, Mark?
Probably not, unless they invite me.
Okay, it's owned by a company called Noble 33. Mm-hmm. And so they use Kelsey Mahomes to come up with a new concept. I believe there's going to be multiple locations around the country eventually, and maybe around the world, especially if Taylor Swift shows up. Right now, Noble 33 has restaurants in New York, London, Miami, L.A., Toronto, Scottsdale, Las Vegas, and Kansas City. That's it.
It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. This is, to say this is upscale is not doing it justice. It's going to be a 2-level restaurant. And I went on their website. There's a steakhouse in Scottsdale that this company has, and their filet and their ribeye are from Creekstone Farms. It says on their website, Creekstone Farms in Missouri. Well, Creekstone Farms is in Ark City, Kansas. I looked it up. And if you want to buy like the ribeye, you can buy it and have it shipped to your house. It's $69. That's buying it directly from the farmer. How much is that going to be down at 1587 after they prepare it for you?
120 probably.
Maybe. Pretty cool concept. I think it's going to work, and I think there will be. It will probably, when it's dead and gone in Kansas City, whenever that is, it'll probably still be thriving in Vegas or L.A. or something like that. But it's cool. You know, Don Shula, the Dolphins coach, had steakhouses forever, and I think maybe he's down to just like Miami where it works now, or maybe one in Vegas, Miami. But at one point, there were multiple locations all over the country, Don Shula's Steakhouse. This could be a popular thing. 1587 when it gets out. How about this one, Mark? NFL fans, after they win, a new survey is out yesterday. They surveyed 2,000 NFL fans and asked about intimacy after a game if your team wins. Which fans are most likely to be intimate after they win?
I got to say Bills, right?
The New York Football Giants.
Really?
Number one, they say 78% say they get a romantic boost. That doesn't mean they actually, they're just willing. Maybe they don't tell their partner. I don't know. I don't know what this all means. But Kansas City is 12th at 54%. 54% of Chiefs fans say they get a romantic boost when the Chiefs win. 29% of Chiefs fans say they get a romantic dip when they lose. Not interested. This one, when you hear it, is going to be very predictable. Which one is dead last in romantic boost when their team wins?
Raiders?
These are the worst. This is the worst fan base and probably organization and the least caring fans in the NFL. It's not close.
Jags.
Dead on. This is great. 17% of Jaguars fans say they get a boost in romance if the team wins. 17% say they get a dip if they lose. It's identical.
Yeah.
What they're saying is, ask me the same question about the Florida Gators, for God's sake.
Yeah, I didn't know they had 17 fans.
No, right. And so I think if the Florida Gators won, that number would be like the Giants number.
Mm-hmm.
That's SEC country, man. That North Florida type fan is just that. I don't know how long they can last in Jacksonville. It doesn't really fit completely in the NFL. Have you heard of a guy named Mark Warren? He lives in Alaska. He's an American. Mark Warren last week was sort of famous when the Russian press found him and saw that he has a motorcycle from the Soviet era in World War II that was built in what is now Ukraine, but was part of the Soviet Union. He apparently had some pictures online, and the Russian media went to find him, and he can't get parts to fix his bike. He can't get them to work because they've bombed the facility in Ukraine. So he was distraught with that. The Russians went and did a story on it. I have no idea what their stories were. They were probably bragging that they ended this Ukrainian bike shop. But this got back to Vladimir Putin through Russian media, who sent Mark Warren of Alaska a brand new, high-end, top-of-the-line Russian motorcycle.
That's pretty sweet.
Shipped it right to him. The press came out and said, "You going to keep that? Putin sent that to you." He goes, if I was on a dime here with Putin doing something for him, if you're asked for something, no. But you're going to drop it at my doorstep and give it to me? Yeah, I'm taking it.
Yeah, might as well.
Immediately, motorcycle fans everywhere started petitioning Giorgia Meloni in Italy. I guess Italy has unbelievably great motorcycles. Please start sending free motorcycles to people over here. That's Uncanceled. The Vince Show is coming up next.